So, hi, welcome. Nandito naman tayo ngayon sa klase natin, week 12 ng ating General Psychology 111. Our topic for today is all about personality. Typical itong naririnig natin yung personality, and oftentimes, we associate this personality by ourselves and oftentimes by attitude. Pero ano mga kaibahan nila? By the way, what is personality? Let's understand this, and maybe at some point, our objective to this, at the end of this lesson, personality, we will all the more know our own personality as an individual itself. So accordingly, the word personality came from the two Latin words, per and sonare, which literally means to sound true. Apparently, the word persona came from these two words. So which mean an actor's mask. So parang maskara mo daw. Maskara ng self mo. So ganito kasi yan. Let's not misassociate the word personality, okay, and the word self. Although, the word self, pasok lang siya sa personality. But oftentimes, ano yung personality natin, iba pala sa totoong self natin, even our roles and values, okay? So, through which the sound of his voice was projected. Since traditionally, the actors will wear mask. So, ganito siya, nag-wear yung mask ng actors. Di ba yung actors, oftentimes, kontrabida yung actor. Yan yung personality niya sa movie. Okay? Pero hindi pala yun yung totoong self niya. Yan yung persona niya na pinapalabas niya sa TV or sa panlabas, pero iba pala yung self ng tao. Sana nakita natin, kontrabida man yan, bakit ang bait-bait? Kaya nga po kasi personality niya lang po yun sa movie. Okay, meron natin tinatawag ba nga, TV personality, radio personality, personality lang po yun. Parang panlabas lang po. Iba yung self na panloob. Oftentimes yung na-associate natin sa word na self. Okay, yan yung kaibahan ng self at personality. Okay? So, personality is defined as the configuration of individuals, characteristic and ways of behaving which describe an individual's unique adjustment to his environment. So, ganito lang po yan kasi kung ano yung adjusting thing to do sa isang individual, sa environment niya, yun yung ginagawa niya, yun yung personality. But oftentimes, our self, kasi ito yung example self, oftentimes kasi yung self tsaka ego, yan tayo. Yan yung tunay na tayo. Yung panloob natin, ano yung sinasabi ng panloob natin. Okay? It includes all those characteristics of the person that are important in his adjustment and maintenance of the self and his self-respect. So ito yon, his role, personality composed of the individual's role, values, self, of course, and of course, intelligence. That sums up the personality of an individual. So, the self is only one aspect. So, ito po yun, of personality. In addition to the four aspects shown here, there are many others as well. So, from early childhood, the individual's concept of self is an important factor in guiding both his immediate behavior and further development in his personality. So, ganito po kasi yan. Yung personality kasi natin, sometimes nahubog to, the way we act, di ba? Actors yan, di ba? Sometimes actors, hindi niya talaga na-learn yan. Meron siyang totoong self muna na una, before siya nagkameron ng personality, and na-learn niya through his adjustment sa environment. So, he acts consistently in terms of the kind of person he believes he is. Ito ako. Okay? And this self, okay, yung self na pinaniwalaan niya, nagresulta lang yun po yan sa isang personality. Kaya meron pong tinatawag na oftentimes personality disorders. Sometimes yung mga taong ganyan, ang daming personality, multiple personality disorders, ang dami nila, pero yung self niya, being himself, isa lang po, okay? So this self is his personality viewed from within. All his experiences within himself, in his environment are integrated into it. Personality includes the self and instructions and even more. Personality structures refers to persistence unique features that give coherence to personality. A man's personality structures arises through the roles, okay? Example, yan yung personality niya. Oftentimes kasi, yung personality ng isang tao, example, ito yung personality niya, ganito, ganyan. Sometimes kasi, na-associate sa role ng isang tao. Ano ba yung role niya? Yan pala yung personality niya kasi father siya, artista siya, singer siya. So, associated talaga po yan, okay? Yung roles ng isang tao sa personality niya. Social interests use the word personality to refer to individuals, social stimulus value or effect on others, social scientist, his awareness of self as permanent organizing force in his life on his particular pattern measured by measurable traits. So, kaya po kasi natatawag natin yan na personality niya kasi paulit-ulit na. Ay, baka ginagawa niya yan. Ano ibig sabihin? Parang ganun ba? Ano kaya yung personality ng taong to? Ganyan yung personality niya kasi there is this pattern, okay, of measurable traits. Kasi science po tayo, okay? Measurable po yung psychology kasi school of thought po to. So, nalalaman mo yung personality ng isang tao according to you, according sa nakikita mo, because there is na paulit-ulit na ginagawa niya ay yung personality niya. Ganun. Oftentimes, maybe in the aspects of psychology, body language, or ugali, oftentimes, yung roles, ganun. And it is determined by all those characteristics and qualities of individuals and act as stimuli for the other people. Physique, yung physical na characteristic niya, yung panganyo, hair color, complexion, mannerism. Ito po. Friendliness, and the like. So, meron tayo ditong individual reaction to common and unique experiences. Okay, yung iba-ibang reaction ng isang tao. So, there are individual differences in reacting to social pressures around him. Each person reacts in his own way to social pressures. According dito, personal differences in response may be biological. Okay, sa biology niya, maybe na yung biological potentialities na namana niya sa parents niya, sa brothers niya, and others who transmit their culture sa isang individual na nag-i-impact sa buhay mo. Okay? It is these individuals who impose the social roles or act models which show how the roles are played. So, oftentimes yan yung nalilearn natin sila ng mga tao, yung parents natin, kamag-anak. Sila kasi yung nagturo sa atin kung ano yung social roles. And that social roles impact us, have significance, potentialities. And oftentimes kasi, di ba, may mga kasabihan tayo, yung mama niya, yan yung mama niya, papa niya. Baka magkaganyan din siya kasi yun yung ginawa. Okay? Parang na-learn natin accordingly in biological aspects. Kasi parang by dugo ba? Okay, namana daw accordingly. In the process of cultural na naman transmission environment na po to, not all parents and parent substitute are equally successful in providing affection. So, hindi naman oftentimes talaga. Sabi pa dito, there are failures na oftentimes, example, matino man yung mama niya or parent niya, bakit ganun yung anak? There is failure. Hindi oftentimes po, hindi po absolute na pag ganun yung parent, ganun din yung kuan. Oftentimes, nag-fail, hindi naging katulad ng parent. Beyond this unique biological inheritance and specific ways in which culture is transmitted to him, the individual is also shaped by particular experiences, such as illness, death of loved one, okay, di ba, nagbabago yung ugali ng isang tao, yung personality, or an unusual success or failures, pag na-fail or nag-success, the process of growing up, of course, learning to behave in ways expected by our society. Each culture develop a somewhat characteristic personality structure. Of course, yun ang naghuhubog sa atin. So, ano yung mga approaches naman para maisabihan natin yung personality ng isang tao? How can we approach that? So, psychologists have developed many theories, ang daming theories, in their aspects to explain human personality. And the two general approaches have been taken to explain and understand personality. The first of that is idiographic and monothetic. So, ano yung idiographic? Idiographic approach is concerned with the aspects of an individual's personality that are unique sa kanya. Yung unique lang sa kanya. Okay? According to this view, in certain aspects, every man is all other men. Medyo may kaparehas in all other men. Like some other men. Okay, maybe in this concept, in all other men, maybe tao tayo, universal. Ito yung pinagagawa natin, common sa lahat. And like some other man, maybe in the aspects of our community, culture, medyo katulad natin yung some other man. And like no other man, ito tayo. This is who we are, magkaiba tayo, magkaiba yung lahat. But meron din isang approach dito, idiographic approach. Also includes the characteristic of the people share with the others or group with all human beings. But the emphasis, however, is on the interaction of these traits that make individual unique. How we interact pala. Ayan yung nag-differentiate sa atin. Kasi oftentimes, example, kambal. Okay, sa kambal, medyo magkapareha silang hilig ganito. Pero how they interact, yan yung sinasabi dito ng idiographic din approach. Yan yung pinaka-focus niya talaga. Isa pa dito naman yung monothetic approach to personality. It attempts to describe those psychological na naman to. Okay? Hindi sa biological. It's psychological elements which are presumed to be common to all individuals. So, kano yung common sa individuals? Yan yung personality mo. So, the uniqueness of individual according to this approach is defined by particular patterning of the elements which are present in each person. Kung ano yung present sa'yo, kung ano yung katulad mo sa iba, iyon yung personality mo according to this. So in assessing individual's personality, the monothetic would use standardized tests. May mga standardized tests. So, standard meaning, akma sa lahat to. Okay? Meaning, akma sa average person. O naisabihan mo yan. The individual will be described by comparing him to average person. Meaning, magkatulad ka. Yun yung personality mo. While a deductive model in which statements true about people in general would be used, an individual's behavior will be explained on the basis of universal traits, situational and background factors, and organic factors. And of course, let's talk about theories. Nag-talk na tayo sa approach. Saan ba pumapasok ang mga approaches? Of course, dito sa mga theories natin. Mayroon tayong types of personality. So, theories of personality attempts to explain the nature of personality organization or personality structure. There are many theories of personality and several are considered. Ito yung pinaka-importante. Ang dami kasi niya. Yan theory. Meron tayo ditong type theories. One kind of type classification in the theory of body types are determined of personality. Include these body types are bodily constitution of health, vigor. Among the contemporary psychologist William Sheldon developed a theory based on the bodily characteristics. So, si Sheldon, base daw sa pagkatawan, physical lang yung isang tao. The term used to describe components were derived from the names of the cell layer or embryo with different bodily types tissues originate. The three components, according to Sheldon, classification are endomorphic component, mesomorphic component, para siyang cell, di ba? And ectomorphic component. Endomorphic component refers to the prominence of intestines and other visceral organs. These are the tendencies to be fat. Ito yung mga matataba in proportion to his height. The second is mesomorphic component, refers to the bone and muscle, yung may bone, halos bonish na. The individual is strong and may muscle siya. Tough and athletic. He tends to well built and well proportionate yung. Yan yung mga medyo hubog yung katawan. The third is ectomorphic. Ito yung mga payatin daw ng mga tao according sila ang body characteristics, fine hair and sensitive nervous system. So ectomorphic tends to be long, thin and poorly developed. On the whole, he is rather weak physically. Now, Sheldon also believes that there are three ways in which one's temperament varies. Example, the obese individual or a person who shows a preponderance or endomorphy is classified temperamentally as best serotonic. Such person is seeks comfort kasi, di ba, pag mataba ka, parang sinusunod mo lang yung sarili mo, yung ano yung comfortable sa'yo, kinakain mo lang yung comfortable sa'yo, it's too much. He is sociable din siya. He is greatly interested in seeking affection. While the mesomorph naman, sumatonic, ito yung mga taong energetic, yung okay yung pangatawan, parang macho kumbaga, who is energetic, who likes exercise, and who is direct manner. According dito, aggressive na siya. Self-assertive yung tao sa kanya, parang disiplinadong tao. And of course, the last, the ectomorphic is the cerebratonic, which is characterized with excessive restraint, inhibition, parang enduring siya. Example, payat yung isang tao. Paano siya naging payat? Siguro naging enduring siya sa walang kain. Parang siyang inhibition. Nag-restrain siya sa katawan niya. So, parang matimpiin yung taong to. Another known classification of personality based on the behavior type was the psychological type of theory proposed by Swiss psychologist Carl Jung. Okay? Jung classified individual into introverts and extroverts. Sabi dito, mga introverts daw, meaning papasok, intro himself, especially in time of emotional stress or conflict. He is governed primarily by subjective factors and subjective feelings. His characteristics is shyness, mahiyain itong mga taong to. How about the extroverts? Sila yung mga tao na sociable naman, well-dressed, and outgoing. Medyo jolly sila. Based on the body chemistry and endocrine balance, also, Galen had 4 types of personality. Sila yung mga sanguine, phlegmatic, melancholic, and choleric. These were based on the prominence of the blood ng isang tao or fluids. Sabi niya dito, yung mga sanguine daw ng mga tao is person generally warm-hearted and pleasant and had prominence of the blood. How about the phlegmatic is restless and slow? Medyo mahina, medyo slow daw. His qualities are distributed to flame. Parang plema na ba? Parang di ba mahina yung flow ng blood na yan. Melancholic is suffering from depression and sadness because daw of the black bile, okay? The choleric person is easily angered. Choleric na person because it is yellow bile, okay? Meron daw siyang ganyan na personality. So, ito po yung average person. Ito po yun sila. Endomorphic, yung mataba, and oftentimes na hindi daw makapagtiis, comfort lang daw yung inaasikaso, gusto daw yung buhay is okay, comfortable, hindi daw komportable pag may problema, ganoon. Mesomorphic, ito yung mga tao na disiplinado, okay yung katawan kasi nag-gym sila. Ito namang mga tao na ectomorphic, oftentimes daw, according to the research, para daw kaya nilang makapagtiis in sufferings kasi nga mapapayat sila. Sheldon's conception of this kind of build. According to Williams naman, the basis of temperament is the chemistry of blood. Each person has his own distinctive pattern in doctrine, activity, and individual temperament as kind of indoctrine symphony. Of course, yung hindi mawala-wala talaga sa psychology, yung psychoanalytic theory ni Sigmund Freud. So, Sigmund Freud, the psychoanalytic theories strongly influence other theories. Dito talaga nagsimula ang karamihan sa mga theories. Psychoanalysis developed by Freud that divides the personality in the id. Ang id, yan yung pleasure seeking. Gusto lang ng gusto, kunin. Okay, impulses by the libido or sexual desire. While ego naman controls the expression of these impulses in accordance with the demands of the social reality. So, siya yung ego talaga, parang yung ego yung gumagawa ng mga bagay na yan, na gusto ng id. While super ego naman, pinipigilan niya yung id at the same time yung ego. Hindi yan pwede. Siya yung morality ng isang tao na nalalaman natin kung ano yung right and good kasi may super ego. Okay? Huwag mong gawin yan. Masama yan. Okay? Yan yung ginagawa ng super ego. In personality development naman, individual passes through several stages. Una, oral. So, pagkabata pa daw yung isang tao, oftentimes oral lang, tamsaking yung mga bata. Next, anal. During bowel movement, natututo na yung bata ng anal movement. And next, phallic or oedipal. Ito yung sign na malaki yung bata. Medyo alam na niya kung saan niya associate yung gender niya. Sa opposite sex ba niya, or sa mother ba niya, or sa father niya. The next thing is latency. During this period, early school year siya. Nag-aaralan na yung bata dito. Next is genital. Medyo natutunan na yung bata yung malaman yung sexuality niya and achieve adolescence. There are some new Freudian who differ from him by placing greater emphasis on cultural. Oftentimes kasi si Freud, oftentimes na-focus siya sa biological or sexual urge ng isang tao. Meron din new Freudian theory na na-emerge. Meron pa rin Freud to na mixture, pero meron na ng touch nila sa cultural environment or social interaction. Isa dito si Karen Horney. Stress the importance of loving home prevent sa isang bata, no? Dapat talaga yung bata kasi, according dito, sa home daw na-develop yung bata, meron daw ng basic anxiety kasi nga, hindi na nurture ng parent. And Eric Fromm recognized the 5 basic needs can be satisfied in a social environment. These needs are relatedness, rootedness, identity, transcendence, and frame of orientation. Of course, meron din tayo dito si Alfred Adler. Stress man, social nature. Maganda yung theory ni Alfred Adler. Kasi oftentimes na dito, nakikita niya, paano ba nag-strive yung tao sa superiority? Paano ba namomotivate isang tao? Paano ba siya nagkakamero ng pinagtatrabahoan na yung gusto niya to do that willpower? Kasi daw, meron tayong inferiority complex, meaning, na-feel ng taong to na inferior siya. So, nagpursige siya, he do the work, the willpower, and he wants to become the superiority. Later, he recognized that it could be social in nature, leading to the improvement of mankind. In striving for superiority, each person develop his individual style. So, nag-strive siya. Ito na yung buhay niya, kinalakihan niya, naging individual's lifestyle na niya accordingly. So, by superiority, he meant a higher level of development of a person integrated sa personality niya. And of course, hindi rin nawala dito si Erik Erikson. Meron siyang 7 or 8 psychosocial stages. This is also a touch of Freud kasi may psycho, but there is this emphasis in social stages. So, yung psychology ng isang tao, may relationship sa social stages niya. Each characterized by a particular conflict, which may be resolved in future development is to be normal. So, sabi dito, meron dito, every stage daw dito, infancy, early childhood, up to later life, meron daw crisis yung isang tao. And meron, pag napasa na yung crisis na yan or hindi, ito yung magiging resulta. Example, infancy daw, yung dito daw, trust or mistrust. So, bata pa daw dito, umaasa pa lang siya sa parents niya kasi ang atras ang mistrust. Pag nakakuan siya, na-fixate, possibly yung bata dito na yung natutunan na yung mistrust, hindi na nag-atras yung bata. Ito yung nangyayari, A, to successful resolution. Physical and psychological needs must be adequately met. Kasi pag bata, hindi siya na-sustain physically or psychologically, magre-result yung ang bata dito, ang infant na mistrust, dito niya na-learn through his environment. Next is early childhood. Dito, autonomy na. No, alam niya yung medyo gagawin niya. And sabi dito, consistent discipline with opportunity for reasonable degree of choice in initiating. Dapat daw yung bata dito marunong mag-initiate. Pag pinigilan mo daw yung bata dito na mag-initiate ng sa kanya, pwede daw mag-shame siya, mahiyain siya, magkakameron siya ng doubt sa sarili niya. Okay, next is the play stage or the initiative. Dito na part ng bata, no, kailangan daw ng bata, nag-initiate na daw siya na sa kanya. Okay? Encouragement of the child's interest and early tries. Evidence of adult confidence. Dito na na-learn yung confidence ng bata. Pag hindi mo dito nagbigay yung encouragement sa kanya, magigilty siya. Masabihin sa sarili, kawawa ako. And school age naman, dito na nag-aaral yung isang bata, meron itong industry, pinagtatrabahuan niya yung ginagawa niya. Encouragement and guidance pa rin in learning, intellectual. Ito yung natutunan bata ng intellectual. Pag hindi daw dito natutunan na-develop yung bata sa learning niya, posibleng magkameron siya ng inferiority. Bobo pala ako, hindi ko pala kaya. Ganun. And of course, we have the adolescent stage. Dapat dito daw maging successful resolution of identity. Dito daw sa adolescent stage kang isang bata, adolescent stage, papasok siya ng adolescence. Pag hindi daw niya nalaman yung identity niya, posibleng magkameron siya na identity crisis or hindi niya malaman kung ano yung mayroong self-diffusion or negative identity. And of course, we have adulthood or generativity and versus self-abortion. Pag ito daw nangyari daw, wala daw growth sa being adult, nagkakameron daw siya ng self-abortion. Kinakawawa niya yung sarili niya. And of course, the later life, medyo katandaan na, para 60 to 80 years old yata to, integrity and self-acceptance and despair. Of course, meron self-confidence. Pag hindi daw dito, pag yung late adult, hindi niya napasahan to, o pintahan, magkakameron daw siya ng despair. Okay? Sa sarili niya. Okay. Field theory naman tayo. Some psychologists have been influenced by the concept of field theory in the physical sciences. Based on the study of electromagnetic fields, this theory postulates field of force, which are dynamic and constantly shifting equilibrium. Psychological events like physical events are thought to represent balance and interaction of many forces. A chance in the system is seen as affecting the whole system. Well, according naman sa gestaltist, di ba yung gestaltist kabuuan talaga, in nature, behavior is shaped not on the individual change or cause or effect, but the combination, dapat pangkabuhan talaga of the entire field. Yan yung gestalt, kasi yung gestalt pangkabuhan. The leading exponent of field theory, called Goldstein, developed organismic theory naman, which stresses the orderly unfolding of inherited potentialities of the organisms. So, medyo the unfolding, parang hindi pa rin develop. Later in life, ma-unfold yung parang libro ba, binubuksan, unfolding. Organisms with self-actualization of man's highest goal. According to him, particular symptoms are not the product of particular diseases or injuries, but only products of organism as a whole. Of course, meron din dito si Carl Rogers, si Katinto. As an organismic theorist, emphasize the individual's world of experience or phenomenal field, especially the concept of self. It is the individual's perception and interpretations that determine his behavior. So sabi dito, depende daw sa perception mo, interpretation mo, ano yung behavior mo ng isang tao or how you look at society. Out of the interaction in his environment, he develops self-concept, ano yung self-concept, and becomes the most valued possession ng isang tao. So like Rogers din, meron din ka Abraham Maslow. He stresses the importance of self-actualization. He studied and listed characteristic and healthy self-actualized individuals. Sabi niya dito, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he regarded man's inborn nature as basically good, but is easily overcome by social pressures. Self-actualized persons are particularly capable of loving and being loved to the fullest way. Self-actualization exists also in existentialism yan. This postulates the man's first exists and then chooses what shall be. Meron dito stimulus response theories of personality, Neil, Miller, and Dollard. Extended stimulus response learning theory to explain both personality development in childhood and changes that take place in psychotherapy. This emphasizes the importance of environment in determining how the individual uses inborn biological drives. So sabi dito, kung meron daw stimulus, may response ka, oftentimes nalalearn mo daw. Feelings and motivation as well as overt behavior can be learned. Okay, nalalearn mo daw. Through stimulus, at pag may stimulus, nag-respond ka, nalalearn mo yung mag-respond, and oftentimes nagiging personality mo yan. Stimuli provided by the environment, especially rewards and punishment, determine what individuals learn. Robitzers naman stresses the importance of studying dioic units or group of 2 or more persons. Another theorist emphasizes the role of learning process in the development of personality. Moreover, he has developed a dual theory of nature of learning. Dollard and Miller regard reward and essential learning, Morer solution sa learning. And meron ding methods naman of studying. Paano natin gawin talaga? Ano yung mga methods na gagawin natin? So, personality is considered as complex interacting traits. Individual are characteristics such as mental ability, mechanical aptitude, talent, masculinity, introversion, and sociability. They can be observed as untested. Dapat natin matested talaga objectively or inferred from observable, measurable behavior. These are also called dimensions of personality because they can be measured and quantitatively in the continuum. Aside from the quantitative measurement, the experimental method and the clinical methods may be used. Clinical psychologists use the personal interview, interview nila, and projective test techniques. Meron din yung thematic appreciation test. The Kahn test of arrangement is also used to categorize mental patients. Meron itong rating skills, nire-rate yung response mo, behavior samples, self-inquiries and tests, incomplete sentence, blank, binablank, may mga blank na sentence, kung ano yung sinagot mo dyan, maybe sa blank, yan yung personality mo, ina-assess ka nila. Word association test, Runserg picture representation, may mga picture na pinapakita. Meron din Bender Gestalt, kinakita ang kabuuan mo. Two major approaches of the objective measurement of personality are the philosophical approach and factual analysis. The philosophical approach of personality study is based on the broad view of man in his nature is revealed by history, literature, and general observation. An example is study of values test. Study of values test is a self-inventory device to measure the relative importance of 6 basic motives na individual: theoretical, economic, aesthetic, social, and political or religious. Meron din na factor analysis. Approach identifies number of objective, measurable dimensions. Two large group of normal personality have been identified. They are hormetic and temperament factors. The hormetic traits are the direct motivational aspect ng isang tao. Okay? While the temperament traits are the integrated, personal, described manner in which individual's characteristic operates in certain areas. Yan po yun. In understanding the whole person or to see an overall pattern of various characteristics, meron din the profile or psychograph is used. The individual is pictured on the basis of several scores and type in terms of fitting particular pattern, aptitude, and personality traits. And the side of the psychograph are listed traits. Nilistan yung traits mo, measured and been obtained. The person's standing on each traits indicated by a plot in terms of centile score. At glance, the individual can be compared with the other people in terms of relative strength or weaknesses. Okay? So, yan lang po yung klase natin. Here's the question for study. Define personality. How is personality developed? What is Sheldon's classification of personality? And what are the psychological stages of personality according to Erikson or Freud? And lastly, what are the methods used of the personality? Okay? So, you can also read further readings sa mga major natin someday. Ito yung mga, dito nyo tignan talaga yung mga reference. Take note of this kasi hindi na ako magbibigay ng additional copies nito. Provided na po ito dapat. Nakita nyo na to. Okay? Thank you guys. Yun na po. Natatapos yung klase natin. Pag-study kayo.